It's clear that being two-footed in football is going to make you a more dangerous player. Now, I'm not saying you need to be equally dominant on both sides, but to be competent on your weak side, so let's say your left is your weak side, is, in my eyes, very crucial. Like, if you cannot pass accurately, dribble at least decently, shoot and finish on that side pretty effectively, your opponents are going to exploit that weakness, and it's going to cause you to miss so many opportunities. For example, with myself, I worked on my left foot, which was my weak foot, in order to become a good goal scorer on that side, so that if opponents thought about forcing me onto that side, I was still very confident in scoring with my left foot and have scored plenty of really good finishes and goals on that side. And so we're going to be going over just a few things you can do in order to become more two-footed. And I believe if you want to get to a higher level of football, whether you want to play in college, semi-pro, or even the professional game, it is important, it is crucial that you get at least competent on your weak side. Again, opponents will sniff out if you can't use your other foot at all. And again, I'm not saying you need to use it in the sense of it needs to be as good as your dominant side. I mean, we can look at players who, for example, like a Messi or plenty of others like Robin, Di Maria, I'm thinking of just left-footed players right now, who clearly are much better on that side, but they could still use the other side. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Dave and this is Simply Soccer, where I'm creating videos every single week to help you improve your game and stand out on the pitch. Now, I have something that you can go get right away on my ebook Game Changer. You can get that for free down below. That's going to give you so much to help you do exactly that. So please get that before you move on with this video. Now, in this video, again, it's really simple to improve your weak side. It really isn't that complex. I'm just going to give you what I used to do in order to get good at this, because I'm a right-footed player, and when I was really, really young, I had no ability with my left foot, except really, really basic ability. And I just did certain things that allowed me to become really good on that side, to the point by the time I was in middle school and high school, I was fairly two-footed. I could finish on both sides, I could dribble well on both sides, I could pass. I didn't really have any issues if I was forced onto my left foot. And I'm just going to go over essentially what I did. It was really basic, and you can do the same. Now, the obvious answer is you need to use your weak side more often, but I'm going to give you some things you can do to make this very quick. Now, the first thing, first and foremost, is don't skip out on using your weak foot. For example, if you're doing 10 reps of a certain dribbling drill, don't skip out on your left or your weak foot. I know players who kind of do this. They go just on one side, their dominant side, and then neglect the other side. I know it's frustrating to use a side that's not as good, and you're doing it with your other side, which is doing it much better. But again, it's only going to get better through use. And one thing I would do is actually do a little bit more on the weak side. So let's say you're doing like a cone weaving drill, and you do 3 sets on your right side, do an additional set on your left. Or let's say you're doing your passing and receiving, and you do like 20 reps of just controlling it with the inside of your foot, do 25 on your left. This is a simple way just to add a little bit more. So you're working on it a tiny bit more. That's going to add up over time. But ultimately, what I would say improved me the most in being able to use my left foot was getting a ball, going to a wall, and kicking against it over and over again. Practicing my skill moves, doing little dribbling patterns, passing against the wall, controlling it on my left side, learning how to turn, learning how to pivot, learning how to pass with different parts of my feet. Again, working on the dribbling, working on my shooting against a wall. And the reason this is so effective is because you can get rep after rep after rep in. There is no real secret to getting good at your weak side except repetition after repetition. And all you really need to focus on with these reps is to do your best on that side. Don't compare how you're doing on your weak side to how you do on your dominant side. Two completely different skill levels at this point. You are just aiming to do each drill to the best of your ability, or shoot it against the wall, pass it against the wall, every skill move, every dribbling drill, all of it, as best you can. And if you keep doing that, you keep doing additional reps, you get to that wall, you pass against it, you practice your shooting against it, you do some skill moves, you do some dribbling patterns, then pass, you do some especially game-like scenarios. So maybe you do a little bit of dribbling, pass, receive, turn around, kind of dribble around again, like do some things at game pace with that side, you will find you are getting better. The biggest thing I find for a lot of players is they just get frustrated because it's obviously harder to do than their dominant side. side, but if you stick with it, you add a few more reps here and there, do more on that side. And again, I'm not asking you to do a crazy amount more, just a few more reps or an extra set or two on that weak side, especially with the things you think you're weak in. So for example, your dribbling might be very poor on that side, your shooting, whatever it is, choose whichever it is for what position you play. For me, it was shooting because I was a striker. And so I wanted to make sure I could score on my left side and got my finishing and shooting really good on my left side. And so again, just come to this with the right frame of mind and you will get better. Because if you consistently do your best to practice on this side, do a little bit extra on this side, use the wall as your best friend because you'll get reps after reps after reps in, you will start seeing improvements in your weak foot very quickly to the point where it doesn't become something you avoid, but becomes a weapon, becomes a tool you can use in matches to become an even more unpredictable and dangerous player. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this video, but if you want to learn how to get better at shooting a ball with your weak side specifically, I have a shooting tutorial here which goes over the full technique. I break it down, I show you how to get really good at this quickly, including like the wall drill and some other things you can do, so go check that out next if shooting especially is something you want to improve, not just on your weak side, but your dominant side as well.